Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Well, after weeks of big top BS, congressional Republicans have named the next speaker, an unheralded Louisiana feller named Mike Johnson. As soon as that happened, the rest of us went to Google his name with our fingers crossed, going, please don't be crazy, please don't be crazy, please don't be crazy. But let's be honest, that's like looking up a random Jason Aldean song as a Southerner and thinking to yourself, please don't be an embarrassment to all I hold dear. It is absolutely going to be. Every time. In fact, if it's not, there's been some kind of mistake. How could it be anything else? There's no other options. In 2023, Republican congressmen only come in two speeds: regular crazy and gunshot noise. That's the only things you got, right? And as far as Mike Johnson, he is, upon further inspection, you guessed it, bananas. He is. They just think maybe he could pass as moderate because he wears glasses and on occasion will employ multisyllabic words. Well, don't buy it, okay? He is a fascistic zealot, all right? Yeah, the more level-headed contingent, if there is such a thing in the Republican base, they looked at him and they said, he's a seditious ideologue, but, you know, at least he's not a sex pest with a cartoonishly gigantic head. At least he's not pulling his titties out at the opera or showing dick pics on the floor of Congress. You know, I mean, and that's pretty good for us, right? I mean, after all, it's 2023 and we're the Republicans. This is literally the best we can do. But, of course, the real reason they picked him is because Daddy said so. That's right. The night before, Trump encouraged them all to support Mike Johnson, and we all know when he says jump, they say, yes, sir, I will, sir. Can I please take the gimp suit off first? They are his bitches. We, the whole damn world knows it, right? But as for why Trump backed Mike Johnson in the first place, it's because he satisfies the one criterion that Trump actually cares about, and that is he is utterly divorced from the objectivity of reality, particularly as it pertains to the results of the last presidential election. That's right. He's an election denier, and in MAGA world, that's literally all that matters, all right? You don't believe it? Look at some of the other candidates that got some of the other names they floated out there were arch conservatives, man. I mean, first ballot Hall of Fame hate mongers. These people hated all the right stuff: blacks, Mexicans, gays, women, poors, math, books, you name it, they hated it. But they had the audacity to certify Biden as the next president on account of he had been elected by the American people to be the next president. And for that sin, in MAGA world, they are cast out, shunned, labeled rhinos forevermore. That's how they roll, and that is terrifying, okay? And as far as Mike Johnson goes, he's not just a believer. No, he's an architect. He's a constitutional lawyer. He tried to devise legal arguments for why Trump should be able to retain the presidency. Back then, they called that a paper coup, y'all. So I'm telling you right now, don't let all this suburban business dad fool you, all right? This milquetoast maniac is every bit as dangerous as the rest of them, if not more so, due to his semblance of competency and ability to mask how insane he is. This is reality. God help us all. Love yous.
Trey Crowder, everybody. Trey Crowder! Oh, we are so screwed. Oh, my God. All right, everybody. Listen, thank you very much for making Free Speech TV a part of your daily routine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so the goal here is to learn together and make positive change in the world. That is what we are doing, and it's Happy Halloween to you. And the Frontline Funders have challenged us to encourage you to place a value on the form of in the form of contribution. Yes, I'm reading this. In the form of contribution to Free Speech TV. Earning the challenge today raises an additional $10,000 for Free Speech TV. That is enough to pay for 2 weeks of your favorite daily live programming like the Randi Rhodes Show to be advertised to about 3 million people. So please visit us at freespeech.org/donate to make your Halloween contribution now and amplify your impact. Oh! Okay, do it. Do it now. I will be reminding you throughout the day. Okay, here are my predictions. It's Friday. It's Friday, right? I'm not wrong about that. Okay, so maybe I won't be wrong about the rest of it. I believe that the Maine shooter, that guy that, is being... Look, did you see that last night? Was everybody watching that last night where the police stood for an hour outside of an empty house? And they were flying drones and helicopters and shining lights and saying, come out with your hands up, to apparently nobody. It's not the police's fault. They have to look like, they got a handle on this, because the entire community of Lewiston and Lisbon, which is, just a few miles north of Portland, these are, small cities, but Portland's the biggest, Lewiston's number 2. I have family up there. I go there all the time. I've been thinking about actually moving there. And wouldn't it be great if they had some gun laws? Otherwise, I'll just stay here in Florida if I want a state with no gun laws. But anyway, it's not the police's fault. They have to kind of calm the community down and say, don't worry, we're on this. We got I personally believe the shooter is dead. Why do I believe that? I believe that because, they have, yesterday we went through all of the information that we were gathering on the TV by virtue of all the experts that were called up and zoomed in or showed up to a studio and went for makeup and hair, or people who were on the phone and calling it in and telling you, here's how it goes. And this is what happens. And the Homeland Security people, and then the FBI, and then you got the CIA, and then you got, not CIA, and then you got the DOJ, and then you got the local police, and then you got the surround, and they all go out and they work seamlessly, everybody. It's a seamless ever. And they got all kinds of tactical gear. They got the cabs, and they got the trucks, and they got the high water vehicles, and they got the armor, and they got the body stuff. And then they got the drones, and on the drones, they got the thermal imaging, and the thermal imaging will see the heat of the body of the man, of the person, wherever he is. And then we send the dogs in, right? I mean, this is what we learned. Of course, I would say ban assault weapons, but again, it must be a jobs program. I don't know, because I watched it last night for an hour. They were outside an empty house saying, come out with your hands up. But, it's just too simple and too elegant to actually take out of your back pocket the last time we saw a decrease in mass shootings, the last time, which was in the glorious 90s, everybody, the glorious 90s. And that was because we had an assault weapons ban. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but because the thermal imaging isn't picking up the body heat of this, particular, perp, this murderer, this mass murderer, this spree murderer, I'm going to say it's because his body's cold and he's dead somewhere. But I can't say that because, people might actually think that that's official, and it ain't. It's just not. So my prediction is that guy's dead. My other prediction, I don't know. I mean, dare I even say it? My other prediction is that there will be some sort of a ceasefire. They won't call it that. They won't call it a ceasefire. They're not going to say that. They'll just say it's like a humanitarian pause or some such crap. And maybe Egypt will agree to open the gate. Maybe Hamas will agree to open the gate down there at Rafah, which is the Egyptian crossing. Maybe they will get their crap together down there, and they will let people who aren't Palestinian by passport. You got people there that are Thai from Thailand. You got Australians there. You got Americans there. Obviously, you got all kinds of different nationalities that want to get out of there. And maybe Hamas will actually let them out. Maybe they will, and maybe Egypt will let them in. But I don't know. But I think there will be some humanitarian corridor that could be set up in exchange for them releasing the damn hostages, which nobody wants to mention. Everybody wants to tell you about, these poor people. And, yes, it's horrible. But their government is made up of terrorists. Their government is a terrorist organization. The actual government is a terrorist organization. Just saying. Just saying. And they're not letting people out. They're not letting people leave the enclave. Hamas isn't. But they've got 200 plus hostages. Now, they're saying today over there that 50 of them are dead. We can't. And then the other 200 or whatever, they said, well, we have to find them. We don't even know where they are. We don't even know where they are. Well, you better find them. You better find them. Because I think that's all they got to negotiate with at this point. Release the damn hostages. Then we could talk about, the other issues.
A things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
This happens with almost every shooting incident. The immediate call by the left in this country, we need more gun laws, we need more legislation. What's your answer to that?
At the end of the day, the problem is the human heart. It's not guns,
What?
it's not the weapons. At the end of the day, we have to protect the right of the citizens to protect themselves, and that's the Second Amendment. And that's why our party stands so strongly for that. I agree with the comments of your guests there. This is not the time to be talking about legislation. We're in the middle of that crisis right now.
It's too soon, everybody, to talk about your sour heart. It's too soon to talk about your ugly, heart. This guy is two heartbeats away from the presidency. And just looking at him, I get AFib. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my God. So okay, let's just say maybe he's right. I can't. Okay, it's not the guns. No, it's not the weapons of war that have laser scopes on them with high capacity magazines being handled by perhaps somebody who is suffering with some sort of a mental issue. Let's put it that way. Maybe that's it. Maybe we should consider his heart has gone sour. How about we keep weapons of war out of the sour heart people, out of their hands? Maybe we identify whose heart is sour, and we say, okay, prove that your heart is not sour before we sell you this. No, that won't happen. Okay. And then he went from the organ of the heart to the organ of the brain.
Is there any specific gun law that you would look at, or any new legislation you would look at?
Anything at all?
Well, been on the job for 48 hours. We'll see. I mean, there'll be lots of discussion, as there are after these heartbreaking tragedies. But your point is well taken. I mean, in Europe and in other places, they use vehicles to mow down crowds at parades, where they've done that here in the United States. It's not the weapon, it's the underlying problem. I believe we have to address the root problems of these things, and mental health, obviously, as in this case, is a big issue. And we've got to seriously address that as a society and as a government, and there's lots of measures pending on that as well.
You believe in a man you can't see who is sitting on a throne in a world you can't see to guide you in leading this country. And you want to say that mental illness is the problem because, and maybe this is an opening, everybody. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just a sunny optimist and I hear an opening whenever I can with these lunatic, fringy people who say they're pro-life because their God is talking to them, telling them that the fetus is everything and no fetus can beat us, right? But maybe there is an opening here in that he says, well, when you're mentally ill and you believe in things that aren't there, right? And you want to kill people really badly, you might use a car to do it. Didn't he just say that? You might use a car, right? Okay, well, in order to have a car, you have to be licensed, and the car has to be registered and insured. Maybe that's the opening to talk about gun licensing, gun registration, and insurance for damages that you do while you're having your issue with invisible people or invisible voices talking to you, telling you what is pious and right. I don't know. It could be an opening. Okay. So first he focuses on the organ of the heart. Now he's moved to the organ of the brain. And now here's the real issue, okay? This is the real problem. This is why we have gun violence. Everybody, Mr. Covenant Marriage has it all figured out.
You remember in the late 60s, we invented things like no-fault divorce laws. We invented the sexual revolution. We invented radical feminism. We invented legalized abortion in 1973, where the state, the government, sanctions the killing of the unborn. I mean, we know that we're living in a completely amoral society. And so people say, how can a young person go into their schoolhouse and open fire on their classmates? Because we've taught a whole generation, a couple of generations now of Americans, that there is no right and wrong.
Okay, so no-fault divorce and abortion is the reason why we have gun violence. Not the gun. Oh no, not the weapon of war. Not the fact that people who are angry or raging or hearing voices or believing that, there is an invisible man in an invisible chair who is telling him to do things, to other people because this is what, the invisible man wants. And so those people are not a threat. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But the heart, the mind, and the uterus, those are the reasons. Those are the reasons. It has nothing to do with the metal, has nothing to do with the hardware. Because, if you don't have a gun, you'll use, apparently, a car. Carnage is a thing with these people. Honestly, it really is. It's a thing, and they like it. They feel comfortable. Did you notice that he was standing there in a church with an Israeli flag? What is that about? What exactly is that about? The apocalypse is what I think it's about. These people who think that this is what God wants. God wants all the Jews to go back to Israel, right? And then we all should die. We all need to die. And then Jesus will come back. Can I just tell you how absurd that is to a Jew? Can I just tell you how absolutely insane that sounds? Do you know why sometimes, you go on the social media? I kind of stay away from it now because it's so virulent. It's so ugly. It's so trashy, and it's so bullying and confrontation. It's like, wow, I've never seen the dumbest people in the world type so fast, really. I mean, I remember when that was a skill. Typing, 200 words a minute could get you a job. Not anymore. Not anymore, unless you work for Russia. But, I try not to go on social media, but some of the things that they're throwing around, they don't understand what they're doing. But they'll show you Hasidim, they'll show you a Hasidic rabbi, and the Hasidic rabbi is telling you that Israel isn't a thing, that, Zionism is evil and bad, and they're using this as proof of something, and I don't know exactly what, but let me tell you what that's about. Okay. So Judaism, at its core, believes in the Torah, and in the Torah, you can't have, Israel, you can't have a state until the Messiah comes back, right? And we're still waiting. You understand that, right? Jesus is Christianity's Messiah. Good for you. No judgment. Okay. But in Judaism, we're still waiting for the Messiah, and therefore, the people who actually live the Torah, live the actual words of the Torah to the point where modern everything is eschewed, including dressing, including clothes and all this stuff, right? The reason why they don't think that you could go back to Israel yet is because you can only go back when the Messiah comes. They're passing this around as if, ordinary secular Jews who are Zionists. I don't know. I just...
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Comments you had made both in writing and advocacy for this group about homosexuality, calling it sinful, destructive, and not supporting gay marriage. Quote, no clear right to sodomy in the Constitution.
Oh my God.
You have been getting hammered on this.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about it. I want to know exactly, where you stand. Some of these comments were 15 years ago.
I don't even remember some of them. I was a litigator
What?
that
You
was
wrote
called
them.
upon to defend the state marriage amendments. If you remember back in the early 2000s, I think it was over 35 states, somewhere in that number, that the people went to the ballot in their respective states and they amended their state constitutions to say marriage is one man, one woman. Well, I was a religious liberty defense lawyer and I was called to go in and defend those cases in the courts. Let me state this very clearly, and there's been questions about this. Let me say where I am. Anybody that knows me will tell you this is true. I am a rule of law guy. I made a career defending the rule of law. I respect the rule of law. When the Supreme Court issued the Obergefell opinion, that became the law of the land, okay? I respect the rule of law, but I also genuinely love all people, regardless of their lifestyle choices. This is not about the people themselves. I am a Bible-believing Christian. Someone asked me today in the media, they said, it's curious, people are curious, what does Mike Johnson think about any issue under the sun? I said, well, go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He's like something that they crafted in a science lab. You know what I'm saying? He's like this guy who is never right. As a lawyer, he's always on the wrong side of everything, including his election denialism, including his cases to the Supreme Court saying you have to overturn the results of a free and fair election because the states have the right to choose the electors, not the people. And he was laughed out of the Supreme Court. Okay, but it's like he was created in a lab. He's really to the right of Jim Jordan, like to the right of Attila the Hun, okay? He's really, really a monster who wants to punish women, who wants to punish gay people, who doesn't believe that they're capable of having loving families. He's never right, but he's always got this attitude of superiority about him. Holy crap, this is so bad. This is so dangerous to have fundamentalists that are guided by invisible people telling them things in their ear. Isn't that exactly what the shooter in Maine said? They're alleging, the person of interest in Maine was suffering from. Invisible people talking to him to the point where he self-reported and was in a psychiatric unit for about 2 weeks and then discharged. Apparently, they deemed him Christian. I don't know. He said he heard voices, and they said, "No, you can go. You can go. Go run for Speaker of the House." I mean, I don't even understand it. If it's your heart, and then your brain, and now it's, that human life is devalued because abortion or because of gay marriage or because of whatever he's alleging now in this moment. And then when he gets caught being a bigot and a prejudiced, homophobe, oh, I don't even remember it. This is like Donald Trump. Oh, I never met her. She's not my type. Oh, I don't know these people. Oh, Sidney Powell, she was never my lawyer. What? I mean, how do these people present themselves as being like super pious or, because I'll tell you what it is. This is why all those Supreme Court justices felt not just okay, but encouraged to lie during their confirmation hearings because God wanted them to. Do you see how insane that is? That God wanted them to bear false witness when it's one of the top 10 don'ts. I mean, their version of life, their version of that, their value system is so out of kilter. It's so not normal that people are literally running in droves away from that party who hasn't had a decent idea in forever. But this pious sense of superiority, as they say, the wrong policy for whatever ails us over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's unbelievable. And why is this guy the speaker of that? Why is he 2 heartbeats away from the presidency? How in the hell is this minority party, this minority group inside of a party that's about to be almost a permanent minority in this country? I mean, the Republican Party needs a divorce from the Republican Party. But how did we end up with MAGA Mike? How did the minority get their wet dream accomplished? How did that happen? I mean, I'm longing for the days when the Speaker of the House was just your ordinary alcoholic or just your ordinary child molester. We've had 2 of them. Remember the good old days when all we had was, Livingston was cheating on his wife, so he couldn't impeach Bill Clinton for cheating on his wife. And then Newt Gingrich said, well, I can impeach him. I'll do it. But you're also cheating on your wife. Yeah, but I'm going to marry her. Who? No, my wife is dying of cancer. I'm going to leave her on her cancer bed and I'm going to marry the mistress. What? Yes, and that will give me some sort of a moral high ground upon which to stand when I point the finger at Bill Clinton and call him a philanderer. I mean, they haven't had a good idea in forever. And then this one just blows my mind. Okay, and this is what people in journalism and the media now are doing, because nobody can figure out like why this guy, where the hell did he come from, and can he please go back to wherever that is? Because like how in the world is he the Speaker of the House of Representatives in these United States while the world is on fire, and he's appearing in churches across America with an Israeli flag on the stage, preaching hatred for his fellow human being, right? As he says, guns are not the problem. Children are not being killed in school because of guns. Children are being killed in school because of abortion and gay marriage and no-fault divorce. What? In front of an Israeli flag. Because he is rooting for the Armageddon. He's rooting for the complete and utter demise of an entire world religion so that he can live his biblical fantasy. I mean, it's just, so how did this guy become the Speaker of the House? All right, here, not only are we supposed to pick up a Bible to understand him, but we're supposed to skip the parts of the Bible that he doesn't want read, like, potions and kicking a woman in the stomach if she's pregnant by a guy who isn't her husband. That would be abortion. But he also thinks that women are nothing but breeders. Do you know that he's anti-everything, okay? He's anti-Social Security. Once you're born, you're on your own, according to, little Mike here, MAGA Mike. Once you're born, figure it out. Find somebody, that's lactating and grab hold and swing around there, because nobody's coming to feed you. Nobody's coming to get you. If you were born to somebody who can't afford the Infamil at $35, well, too bad for you. We're not giving a food stamp. We're not giving a chip program. We're not getting you checked out by a doctor. No. Every single solitary social program he wants to destroy. Wait till you hear his reason for doing that.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody, thank you. Thank you for listening and watching Free Speech TV and making it part of your day. We really appreciate that you do that. Could you put a value on that? Could you? No, I'm serious. Can you? Can you just value that and donate it, like right now? Just call us up at 877-378-8669 and say, this is what it's worth for me every single day to have this. And so I'm going to give it to you. There's a QR code right there on the bottom of your screen. If you'd like to just use your phone, it will take you to freespeechtv.org. Actually, it's freespeech.org, no TV in there. Or you can text to 44321, the letters FSTV, and we'll send you a secure link that you can make your donation on, or just go online and visit freespeech.org and tell us what it's worth to you. Because if we could raise 10 grand today, another 10 grand, then we will be able to advertise these shows to people who have never heard of us, which is, a lot of people. But that's what it costs to do the advertising, and we need to run a campaign, because that will increase our donor base by turning people on to the opinions and to the facts and to the news that is here on this independent platform, and the conversations that can be had on this platform, which can't be had on any other. It's valuable. So please do it, and thank you. Ed in Iowa.
Oh, hi, Randi.
Hi, Ed.
I called yesterday, but your call screener suggested that I put my idea as an email to you.
Oh, well, that explains why I got so much email yesterday.
Not for me, just one from me. Had you had a chance to read through that?
Yes. Yeah. Which one was yours?
Mine was about having Israel become a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yes, I saw that. So, no.
Okay. And why would that be?
Because Israel's not a theme park, Ed. It's a country.
And I was I was not trying to turn it into a theme park.
No,
either.
you were very respectful, I will say, and you said, listen, I understand, how many people's feelings would be hurt, and then we would have to sort out this and that, and who would take care of that part and this. I understood what you were saying, but the answer is very brief and to the point. The answer is no, because turning Israel into a UNESCO heritage site and giving it to the United Nations, who has shown themselves to be abject failures at almost everything they do, is very insulting to the people who call that place their country of origin. It's not a theme park.
Okay, well, like I said, I really wasn't trying to, build
I don't think that
road.
you had ill will. I really don't. I think you were trying to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard anybody else actually come up with a new idea except beat them with a stick.
Well, we don't need a new idea. We don't need a new idea. What we need is for, the Arab countries that are surrounding this particular piece of land that has been Turkish land, a British mandate, Egyptian. After Israel was founded, Gaza was part of Egypt. Okay, that's who it belonged to. The West Bank was Jordan. Listen, they've been tossed around so many times, these people in these, territories, in these enclaves, that it's really up to the people who tossed them around to come in and to make sure that they don't have a terrorist government in Gaza and that the Palestinian Authority in, the West Bank is not corrupt. Like everybody was screaming, Ukraine is so corrupt, you can't let it be a country. You have to have it, annexed by Russia. Which is crazy. I mean, that's exactly the kind of crap that's happening, there. So, just decorrupt the Palestinian Authority. Get, Jordan and Egypt and not Syria. They're crazy there. But, get some serious people in the region to, administer these places until they have their own elections, until they can figure out that they've had enough of the terrorists, that they've had enough of the corrupt government, and that they want a legitimate parliament, or they want a legitimate way to self-govern. Why can't why do we have to take Israel away from Israelis? I don't understand.
I wasn't necessarily saying I didn't say anybody had to move. I was just saying.
No, you were saying they should give up their ability to self-govern and let the United Nations do it.
Okay, let's look at that for just 1 second, if you don't mind. They had one election, right, in Gaza about 17 years ago, and they put in who? And since then, they haven't been allowed
it wasn't that they put in who. It's a parliamentary system, so the majority of seats went to Hamas, and then Hamas and Fatah had a war. They literally went to war with each other. And so Hamas took over in the end in a coup. Okay?
Right.
And there's no amount of United Nations help that is going to ever stop coups because, the people that do coups sit on the National Security Council, like China and Russia, and they veto everything that would make any kind of democratic sense for anybody.
Yeah.
So giving...
And Israel put in nitwit Yahoo not once, but twice.
No, more than twice. I mean, he was there.
I thought he was elected twice.
No, 99 is when he was first elected. Then he was not chosen. And then 10 years later, he came back like some weird, what's the word for COVID? What do they call it? A deviant. What do they call it? What do they call it?
They call it a novel virus when it first came out.
No, like when it devolves into like the next generation of it, they call it something. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Bad luck, I would say, but I would just say that just saying very flippantly and offhand, they need to put in a decent government. Well,
wait a minute. Who needs to put in a decent government?
That's what you were saying. That's all they need to do is put in I don't remember what you said, but to the effect of a decent government. But that's not going to happen. Look at our government. You know what direction it's heading.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So because you don't like the direction, or because you want to take away their ability to self-govern, I don't understand how you get there if you're a proponent of democracy. Variant. Yes, the word was variant. Thank you.
As long as one side has an advantage, they're going to exploit it.
Yeah, and that's democracy. Democracy is the worst system of governing except for all others.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your reply. I appreciate it.
All right. No, I read your email, and I know the sentiment in which you sent it. You know, and for me, intention is a very, very important thing. I value the intention of somebody who puts, you know, their pen to paper or types an email to me. And I don't think you had ill intent, malintent, whatever you want to call a bad intention. I know you were trying to figure out a solution to a very disgusting, ugly set of videos that keep on playing on our TV of dead people, including children, and you're trying to figure out what do we do about that. Well, the true answer is there's not anything that America can do about that except to say that that is ugly and pornographic. It shouldn't happen because we're not part of this. And that's what's so insulting to a lot of people is that we're not part of this. And America has taken aside the uber left, the seriously devoid of any ability to self-govern anymore, the daft left, the people who have gone so far to the left that they're on the right now, are for the terrorists. They're literally advocating for the terrorists and the crap that these terrorists did to their own people by sending 2,500, see, people don't understand, 2,500 terrorists into southern Israel to rape, to strip naked, take as hostage naked raped women, parade them on the streets in Gaza naked and raped, okay? Beheading people, setting babies on fire, okay? Killing children in front of their parents and killing parents in front of their children while live streaming it to Facebook, okay? And you got people on the left that are like totally okay with Hamas doing that, knowing what the result of doing that would be for the 2.2 million people in Gaza. I mean, the idea that they didn't know that all hell would be rained down on 2.2 million people in Gaza's heads if they did this is, you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to, history, 75 years of history. So there, I can't for the life of me figure out like what is going on in some of my sort of brethren, step brethren, I don't know how they're related, in their heads. I honestly don't. I really cannot figure out how they got where they are from where we actually see what happened, from the terrorists, from the terrorism. I don't know. I mean, if 9/11 happened again, would they be on the side of Al-Qaeda? I don't know. I really don't know at this point. But the solution isn't an American solution. You understand? Now, what you can thank the President of the United States for doing is talking to the person with all the bombs, talking to the person who is in charge of the terrorized country, and saying to that person, you will lose the goodwill of the world if you start really killing.
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Oh, everybody, this man right here, he knows what's wrong with all of us. He knows why Social Security and Medicare must be trashed, it must be set aside, it must be done away with. It's our fault. It's our fault. We don't deserve to have Social Security or Medicare in our senior years or when, God forbid, we become disabled. No. And here's why.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman,
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
I'm a breeder. That's it. That's what I am to him. That's what women are to the Republican Party. We're breeders, and it's our fault, everybody. It's our fault. If we didn't have like 13 children, well, it's our fault that Social Security, isn't, I don't know, solid for another 200 years or whatever they're going to claim now. Medicare is just, it's too expensive. We can't afford, well, of course we can, because it's not in the budget, okay? It's not discretionary spending. But it's because I didn't breed fast enough. I didn't breed enough. I didn't make 12, 13. Everybody needs to have, a family of 15 is what it is. And by the way, he doesn't believe in contraception, and that's probably because of his same theory that the economy is looking for able-bodied fetuses to go out there and work in the Amazon factory and send me my my raw B12 complex overnight, and they can't because I didn't have enough children to staff the Amazon factory floor.
That is an Evel Knievel-sized leap he's making, and he says it as if it's fact.
Because he's literally mentally challenged. He literally cannot render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and render unto God what is God's. Now, that's in his Bible, okay? He says, if you want to know my worldview, read the Bible, that's it. Well, his version of what's in there and my understanding of what's in there are not the same. So now what are we going to do about that? So, I would like to tell our friend in Iowa, perhaps we turn MAGA Mike's, a brain into a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And then you could go visit it. You know what else he fundraised for? Do you know what he was? Do you remember the Noah's Ark in Kentucky? That was him. That's who that guy is. And he's now the Speaker of the House of the United States. Why? Because the Republican Party is scared of Daddy. And Daddy wanted a guy who was willing to cheat in elections. And any other theory that he held, any other ideas that he had in his head, he'll deal with that later. There will come a time when Donald Trump will say he doesn't even know Mike Johnson, okay? There will. And you know when that time will be? It'll be around voting time. And you know why? Because women will not be voting Republican. They will not be voting Republican because they are looked at by Republicans as being breeders. There, he said it. That is our function. That is why we're here on this planet. There is no other reason in Mike's mind for me to exist except to fund Social Security by breeding able-bodied workers on a freaking treadmill. I just keep churning them out on an assembly line. Like roll them, faster. I mean, like Lucy in the Candy Factory. That's how I'm supposed to be turning out babies. This is a very sick crowd. It's a very, very strange bunch, And the only reason why Donald Trump liked this guy at all for anything, for any reason, is because nobody knew him. He was a backbencher. Nobody understands, why he... Because this guy was an architect of a legal theory that failed so miserably that every other lawyer, think about this, every other lawyer who expanded or expounded or presented to legislatures, whether they be in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or Georgia, wherever, Arizona, this fake, independent legislature theory where the legislatures, they can change the results of the free and fair election that the people already participated. Yeah, the independent legislature, every other lawyer who expressed that was a real thing is either cutting a plea deal and proffering testimony against other lawyers who said this was a thing, like John Eastman or Sidney Powell or Rudy Giuliani or Jenna Ellis, okay? They're all in trouble up to their eyeballs because they know better. Now, this guy here who's saying all this trash, he's a lawyer too. And he knows better too. But because nobody knew who he was and everybody's trying to figure out who he is, he's the Speaker of the House. That's who he is. Seriously, he is the Speaker of the House. He is literally in a constitutional position to be the President of the United States should, God forbid, something horrendous happen to the President and the Vice President. He would be the President. And the guy is a world heavyweight champion phony because he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer, and he knows there is no such thing as an independent legislature theory to be played as a card or to be tried to overturn an election. He is literally a lawless election denier. That is who he is. And he's got this, good old, this button down sort of what was Family Ties? Michael Keaton. Do you know he's like Michael P.
What did Trey call him? A milquetoast maniac? I think
he's like, it's like with the good suits and the nerdy glasses, and I'm harmless. I'm not Jim Jordan. I was gonna say Jim Jones. I'm not Jim Jordan. I'm not a bully. I wear a jacket. I dress for work. He seems like so milquetoast. He does. He seems so harmless. This guy is such a phony, such a fraud. He's just one of many right now. Just one of many. Sitting in a constitutional position to be president of the United States. Wow. It's stunning to me. It really is. But with all this crazy going on in the world, it's sort of hard for us to focus on the things that we do have control over. And I would suggest that that's what we do. I would suggest that we do concentrate on the things that we can actually change. Grant me the serenity. Accept the things I can't. Change the things I can. Wisdom. Know the difference. We have nothing to say about what's going on in the Middle East, okay? You know what we have to say about what's going on in the Middle East? What we have to say about what's going on in the Middle East is whether or not we're in harm's way. And if we are, then, last night we had to, we got, Syria, Putin's friend, Bashar al-Assad, who gasses children. I can't wait till the left is on his side, too. Well, he just gassed some children. I mean, he's trying to defend the Palestinians. By what? By sending drones into, American air bases. We shouldn't even be there. Okay, all right. So we've been droned. We've been attacked 20 times on our air bases in the Middle East. And, I told you about this air base we have in Doha in Qatar, which is CENTCOM. It is. It's the main base for CENTCOM. They've been firing drones, and one of the guys, he was a contractor. He actually had a heart attack and died. He was so freaked out by this. So we retaliated.
At RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
You want to know why Big Daddy wanted this lunatic fringy guy, this evangelical in the tank for Armageddon guy? Because he's an election denier, because he's dishonest, and Trump values that.
The allegations about these voting machines, some of them being rigged with this software by Dominion. Look, there's a lot of merit to that. In every election in American history, there's some small element of fraud, irregularity, error. We just know that. You just accept that that's the case. But when you have it on a broad scale, when you have, a software system that is used all around the country that is suspect because it came from Hugo Chavez's Venezuela.
What?
We must vote to sustain objections to states of electors submitted by states that we genuinely believe clearly violated the Constitution in the presidential election of 2020.
That's why. That's why, because he's a liar, because he's disingenuous, because of the way he poses himself as being somebody who is respectable, and deep down inside, he's willing to lie and cheat and steal. Why? Because America ain't buying what he's selling. It just, we're done with it. We're done with the Republican Party as a party. If they want to get a divorce and split into MAGA over here and, cloth coat Republican over there, maybe we will, consider some of their ideas once again. But right now, they're strong and wrong. And they're willing to lie and cheat and gerrymander and steal elections and, argue about Hugo Chavez, who's been dead since 2013. I mean, and every other lawyer that opened a mouth about this, every other lawyer that said these things to legislatures, they're all taking plea deals now. They're all copping a plea because if they don't, they're going to prison. Prison. Not the who's got, not jail, not the, the drunk tank. They're going to Fed prison. It's unbelievable to me that the man, the last man standing to tell the big lie is the Speaker of the House. I mean, wow, just amazing. And so if you want to look at like the strategy that they have, they can't win in court. They couldn't win with the election lives in court. Donald Trump himself as a human being, as a person, he can't win in court. In fact, this trial that's going on in New York, while it's only civil, it already has decided that his business certifications should be revoked because he's a fraudulent man who shows no indication that he will stop committing fraud on the people he does business with. And so the state of New York has an obligation to not allow him to do business in New York. And he's already lost the ability to be a charity. All his kids are banned from ever having a charity, ever being in charge of a charity, ever having their name on the board of a charity, because they defraud people in the name of needy people or in the name of, charities. Bannon, too. He defrauds his own freaking audience. So now the judge, Engoron, has decided that he can't be in business even in New York. And see, the reason why Donald Trump is showing up at that particular trial is because that's his lifeblood, man. That's his Trump org. That's how he, washes money. That's how he launders things. That's how he, lies and cheats and steals. That's how he has any, gravitas. That's how he has any entree into polite society. Why he's, this real estate mogul. And it turns out that was all a fraud. It was all the money he inherited from his daddy, which, if he hadn't done the fraud, would be worth much more if he just had it invested in the market, like in an S&P fund, and didn't touch it. It would be worth more than it is now. Okay, so this is the damages portion of the trial. This isn't even, do we need to know if he is a fraud? Do we need to know if he's guilty? He's already been deemed to be a fraud by the court. There is no fact in dispute about that. That's why there's no jury. And that man needs somebody who will cheat for him because he won't be able to cheat for him. And this guy can actually, he's going to lose in court, so he needed a part of the government. He needed something that could push back on what's about to happen to him. And the House of Representatives is that part of the government he feels he can still control. And so he took the House. I don't know what his master plan is for how he wants to use the House, but trust me, it's going to have to do with elections. It is. It is. It's the only way forward for him. It's the only way to the presidency, and the presidency is the only place on earth where Donald Trump can pardon himself. It's the only place on earth where Donald Trump can be immune from further prosecution. If he's the president, as we all learned the hard way, he literally can kill me. He literally can kill people on Fifth Avenue. He literally can do whatever he wants because the opinion of the Office of Legal Counsel, what? I know. It's not in the Constitution, but it's an opinion that the President of the United States can't be indicted. So therefore, can the President of the United States be jailed? No. And that's his way back to the presidency because people aren't going to vote for him. People don't like him. People are done with his little, his dog and pony show. Bored, I mean, seen it, been there, done that. Didn't work. Bad policies, bad ideas. Nothing worked out well. No. 1 million people died of a virus that was preventable early. And, they just let them go. And they told you pretty much stick lightsabers up your butt and take animal. What is ivermectin? Animal what?
It was a horse, something for horses, right?
It was for animals. I mean, it's in fish food too, But anyway, take that. You'll be fine. I mean, listen, people are done with him. And so the only way for him to come back is to cheat his way back. And that's kind of what he has in mind. And that's the only reason why I could see him having a very, very deep, deep interest in the House of Representatives, where we know elections must be certified on January 6th. We know that. We didn't used to know that, but now we do. We really know it. All right, Brother David.
Oh, sister.
Hi.
Preach on, preach on.
Mm.
Well, it is a facile, fraudulent, fundamentalist, fomenting fascism and fumbling, fabulously Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This one, this latest, it has taken me aback. Because there's so much all the time, as you well know.
There is.
It's constant.
It's constant chaos. It's constant chaos. If it's not a mass shooting, then it's a war over there, and if it's not a war over there, then it's getting some lunatic, fringy guy to be the Speaker of the House after 3 weeks of having no Speaker of the House. I mean, really, I've never seen so much chaos all at once.
All at once.
So
it is making me go inward, and I'm thinking globally, act locally, vote blue, pay attention, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, fight or flight, that's behind us. It's here. We're here.
We're here.
I'm here. You're here. Where there's breath, there is hope.
Right.
And gorgeous girdles for everyone.
Well done. Really nicely done.
Love you always.
Bye. Woohoo. Early. 5 seconds to kill.
Clear. Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right. What's it worth to you? Huh? What's Free Speech TV worth to you? Whatever that is, dial it in. Call it in. Say that's what it's worth to me. And, it could be anything. Could be anything at all. But go ahead and make a donation today, because if we can actually get to $10,000 today, then we'll unlock another $10,000. And that will go into an advertising campaign for all the shows that you love on Free Speech TV, so that we can talk to people who probably don't even know we're here and start, creating new audiences for Free Speech TV that way. So 877-378-8669. That is our phone number. There's a QR code there on your screen. If you want to just put your phone there, it will take you to freespeech.org, and you can donate that way. You can text FSTV to 44321. We'll send you a secure link, 44321. Put in the letters FSTV, Free Speech TV, or visit us at freespeech.org and say what it's worth to you, okay? And do it today, and thank you very much. Rick in New Mexico.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Been listening to you for many, many years, and I love your show.
Thank you.
What I wanted to share with you is our new Speaker of the House saying that our economy is suffering because of abortion, and we don't have enough people in the workforce.
Yes, because I'm not breeding fast enough.
Well, but I wonder, is he one of those same people that's screaming that we have a crisis at the border and we can't let all these brown people come into America and take our jobs?
Yes, he is.
So
he wants workers.
Hypocrisy there.
He wants workers, but he only wants, pasty white ones, I guess is the answer there, right? He doesn't want any brown people to be working. I don't know. I don't know how this sells in Peoria. I don't know how they get away with this ugly stuff that they peddle. And Yes, I do. I mean, I walk myself into that corner every single time because it is so unbelievable and it is such a lie. But the answer is they intend to cheat in the end. So they don't really care who votes for them and who doesn't. Donald Trump said as much last week. Okay. I'm trying not to play that freak. I'm trying not to, hurt people's heads or their ears or their hearts or whatever organ is responsible for killing children. I don't know. But I'm trying not to play him. But last week he said, I don't even care if you vote. I want you to show up and watch the voting because he knows he's going to steal or try to steal the election in 2024. It's the only way that he stays out of jail. And that is where we are as a nation,
I know. Either that or he's going to claim that it was stolen again.
Whatever. Well, that doesn't keep him out of jail. Claiming that it was stolen again doesn't keep him out of jail. It might actually, increase, the violence against members, of the House and, random violent incidents against people. Oh, I don't know, like me. But it won't keep him out of jail. He actually has to have the election stolen for him, and he needs to be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, or else he's going to jail. You just know he is.
Well, he had a good dress rehearsal back in 2020, so maybe he's applying what he's learned from that.
Well, what has he learned?
How to do it better.
How to do it better. Yeah, I think Steve Bannon has learned that, you have to seal the election, and then after you seal the election, you have to be prepared with like 40,000 government employees to go into the government and fire all those civil servant workers who will do the right thing. And cut like a Cassidy Hutchinson, right? Who will do the right thing, who will say, what I saw was sickening. What I saw was anti-democratic. What I saw was cheating. What I saw was lying. What I saw was insane. What I saw was Donald Trump allowing violence to occur. And Mark Meadows sitting there scrolling on his phone saying, Cass, he doesn't want to do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? You need to purge the government of people like that. It'll look just like Saddam Hussein when, he took out all the people that were not part of the Ba'ath Party. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it'll look like. That's what he learned, if he learned anything.
Well, let's just pray that he never gets in then.
Okay. Okay, that's what I will do.
All righty.
Thanks,
well,
Rick.
thanks for taking my call, Randy. You have a great day.
You too. I mean, yeah, I will. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes to keep America, America. You know what I mean? Like with all our flaws and all of the difficulties that we have and everything, I wouldn't trade it for Trumptopia, for nothing. Not a chance. But yeah, whatever I got to do, it's what I'll do. Ken in Colorado? No? Scott in Colorado.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi, Randy. I've been listening to you every day since the invasion and the war with Israel and Hamas. And I know something about the Johnson and the Creation Park in Kentucky with the Ark.
Yes.
And the belief that Jesus could have had a pet dinosaur, rode a pet dinosaur, that we're all descendants of the three sons of Noah. And
well, Noah was a drunk, okay? So that would explain a whole lot. It really would.
And Ham, his son, found him drunk and naked and then was cursed. And they say Ham as the dark-skinned one, and that justified slavery and Jim Crow, and that blacks were inferior,
Yeah, I love the story of a God who is love that actually is full of hate. I don't know. I don't understand.
It's hate, and that women did not give birth to Adam. Gave birth to women. It was from his rib. So women are there to be helpers and to submit. The Southern Baptist.
No, actually, we were created because you guys couldn't cut it on your own. Okay, you were a bunch of you were children, and you were just so lonely, and you couldn't do it by yourself. And so God said, "All right, here, I'll make another one." But when life begins in that same story, when does life begin, Scott?
The Big Bang? What?
No, when.
Well, it's from the dust. From the dust.
No, from the breath. From the breath. So
the breath. That's
the breath,
right.
Right. It's the breath. So breath is everything. And until you actually take a breath, these religious doofuses that can't figure out, they have to cross-examine all these doctors, okay, about when does life begin. And they all say, say the same thing. When you're autonomous, when you're separated from when you're out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the real answer
breath.
is first breath. Right. Right. Now, why won't they believe their own text about when life begins? Why?
Well, it's convenient to be superior and to be able to dominate. And white supremacy, misogyny, male dominance, the Bible, they're reading. It's Inherit the Wind, the Scopes trial.
Yep, it is.
That old-time religion.
That's it.
I think, it's a brilliant film.
I love that. I know. It is a great story. I mean, it's a real story. It's about a teacher who tried to teach, evolution in the South. Ha! Good luck with that. You still can't do it. Still. And that movie is in black and white.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The gentlewoman from New York said it right. This has been about one thing. This has been about who can appease Donald Trump. House Republicans have put their names behind someone who has been called the most important architect of the Electoral College objections. He's spearheaded, that's fair, we know how you feel. Yeah, you've made that clear.
Damn right.
He's spearheaded the legal effort, joined by more than 100 of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, in support of a dangerous and baseless lawsuit to overturn the results of the 2020 election. On the eve of January 6th, some of my Republican colleagues even called this a failed strategy. Yet those same individuals plan to stand right next to him today. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, House Democrats believe that when members of this body voted to reject the results of the 2020 election, they forfeited their ability to lead this chamber.
So next week, we're going to find out in two different states that are about 900 miles apart from each other, okay? One is going to be Colorado, yay you, and Minnesota, hooray, who are going to have hearings next week in courtrooms, real ones, about whether or not Donald Trump is eligible to be president of the United States by virtue of the 14th Amendment, meaning, was it an insurrection? First, you have to define what happened on January 6th for the court. The court has to accept that it was indeed an insurrection. Number two, the court has to decide whether or not Donald Trump wanted one, encouraged one, or was derelict in his duty to prevent one or to stop one once one was underway. If the court in Colorado and if the court in Minnesota decide the answer to those two questions is yes, that it was an insurrection and that Donald Trump engaged in it or allowed it or gave aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. The Section 3 of the 14th Amendment doesn't even say that you need to participate yourself in an insurrection. It does say that if you did, you're disqualified from being the president of the United States. But it doesn't say that you had to have. It says you had to give aid and comfort. Well, when Donald Trump finally could be persuaded to go down and tell these violent people a woman was murdered, another woman was stomped on and died on the steps. I mean, he knew death had occurred. He knew. And his answer to Mark Meadows, about all this was to do nothing. To do nothing for 2.5 hours. And then when he was finally encouraged enough by that it had gone as far as it could go. He went downstairs and he made a video. And in the video, he said, "Go home in peace. We love you." This is what happens when an election was so brutally stolen from you. But I need you to go home now. Go home in peace. We love you. That's giving aid and comfort to insurrectionists. So if the court decides this was an insurrection and the court decides that Donald Trump was a participant, then there's only one other question. And this one is the one that's going to be the legal, what do you call it? I mean, where they finagle it. You know what I mean? Where it's up for grabs and it's up for interpretation. And you could, misinterpret or interpret it this way. And if you sat over there, you could interpret it that way. Because the other questions are black and white, right? Was it an insurrection? Did he give aid and comfort? Did he participate in any way? Okay. Then the only question left is the President of the United States an officer of the United States? Because go get out your little pocket constitutions and look at Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, and you will see that that section applies to officers of the United States. And that's where some legal maneuvering could actually occur. But we're going to find out, soon enough. There's no cameras in any of these courtrooms. We're not going to hear anything. Obviously, Donald Trump is, on trial for fraud in New York. That's a New York state court. It's not a federal court. There's no camera ban. And we still don't see any of that. We don't see any of it. It's so important that we see it and experience it the way that you're seeing and experiencing what's going on in Gaza. I mean, it's like up close and in person what's going on there. But God help you if, you wanted to turn on a camera in a courtroom to show that the past president of the United States is a fraud, a complete and utter disgrace. Can't do it. Can't have it. But that's what we'll be watching next week, to see what the arguments are and to find out finally once and for all whether Colorado will ban Donald Trump's name from appearing on its ballot as its presidential, as the Republican presidential nominee. And also Minnesota. Those are the two places where those arguments will be made next week. Doug in Nebraska.
Yes, ma'am. It's Randy. It's a pleasure to talk to you. You and Tom Hartman are my buddies for a long time. Just have never called in before.
Oh, well, welcome. Hi.
I essentially, the last week or so here with the two previous candidates for speaker, called into two of my congressmen. I have property in one's district and an address, and I live most of the rest of the time in the other's district. Congressman Bacon,
yes,
General
Don Bacon, yeah.
and then Adrian Smith, who is the rural area congressman.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them both if they voted for Jordan and the next
Johnson,
for Jordan especially, that they were abrogating their duties as congressmen. And I called in again as soon as I found out that Johnson was the nominee among the party early that morning.
Right.
And said, if you guys vote for this guy, you have abrogated your duties completely. I'll do anything I can to help somebody beat you, anybody beat you. And I basically gave them a new acronym because they love the acronym RHINO. And I said, you are, and of course it's to the people that are answering the phone, sadly, not directly to them.
Right.
But I said, you are USC, as in cat, INO. Uskainos.
I don't get it.
U.S. citizens in name only.
Oh, I see.
I was a former retired. I am a retired DHS Homeland Security immigration officer. And granted, a citizen cannot renounce their citizenship within the United States. You have to be someplace else. But they, as far as I am concerned, have renounced their citizenship by voting for a man for speaker. All three of all three of this state's congressmen voting for a speaker who is still an election denier.
Yeah. Well, I was very surprised when I saw Don Bacon, glom onto this. And the only explanation I have for him doing that, because he's pretty moderate in his Republicanism, right? is that it was so embarrassing to not be able to choose a speaker for 3 damn weeks, and that they wanted to do some business because the world is on fire, and they said, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the only explanation. I don't know the other representative that you're speaking to me about because that's a
no. They're do nothing people anyway.
Well,
so.
I was really shocked. I was appalled actually that because really they're not crazy maggots. They're not like that. And I don't think his vote was about, hey, let's help Donald Trump be president again, or hey, let's let an election denier be the Speaker of the House. I think his vote was, this is so embarrassing. This is so dysfunctional. We're sending a message to the world that the United States has its attention drawn over someplace else. It's not. Now's a good time to go after it. I think,
and it's beyond embarrassing and just dysfunctional as far as Bacon is concerned. Somebody who is a general in the United States military.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly the date that his career began, but. He was in his career sometime when the Soviet Union existed or thinking about going in.
Yeah.
And for him to be a Republican and to basically be kowtowing to Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and everybody else along the road that are supporting all this garbage is just ridiculous. I happen to be
so listen, call us again because we're out of time. It's Friday. I want to go home.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But I get your gist. You're right. You're 100% right. It was baffling when you saw, these moderates line up and cast their ballots for election deniers. And the only conclusion I could come up with, they need a divorce from their own damn party. And they were so embarrassed.